Alright, good morning everybody. Paul Harrison here on Friday morning. I hope you're all exceedingly well. Let's get into it. So the first one we've got is FCX. We've got a line of support here around about 31. Commentary on this, the support line's been running for a fair amount of time. This bounce was obviously a little bit lower than this bounce, and it's coming down a little bit. There was a gap here, but obviously that was early December, so that should be well out of the actual system at the moment. Yeah, you've seen that kind of stuff before. Then we had Charlie Alpha Tango, which is Caterpillar. Caterpillar, we got the upward trending support line. I like how you notice how the highs are getting higher here. It has come down and really put in a lot of indecision here. So it's a pretty nice moving stock. It's not overly aggressive. You're not going to make huge amounts of money in a short amount of time with this, but sometimes as far as a longer term trade goes, not too much of a problem. So that's Caterpillar. Then we have BAC, Bank of BAC, is that right? Bank of America Corporation. So we've got an upward trending support line here. It has rallied pretty significantly since August. What you're looking for is really your entry point there. Obviously an upward trending support line, so you're going to be using a stop order to get in there, but it's been trending very nicely on that support line. Then we have AKAM, Alpha Kilo Alpha Mike, and some support around about the $34 mark. Gap down here as well, but then it's rallied back up, so it should be out of the system as well. It just seems to be sitting around the support line for a while. Obviously a pretty big down day yesterday. I would probably expect to see it continue on the downside today, but that hasn't really given you a great entry point with a big down day, because there is obviously, it's on the support line there. So if you're just looking at it now, you're going to have to use a stop order, and with a relatively big move, then you're going to incur a fair amount of risk. Then we have GLW, Golf Lima Whiskey, downward trending resistance line, bounce, bounce, bounce. It's put in some downward days here as well, so yeah, nothing really particular to discuss on that one. Then we have WHR, Whiskey Hotel Romeo, which is Whirlpool, an upward trending support line. Again, this is a big stock. If you are going to try to be aware that obviously the stock could move significantly, can make a lot of money in a short amount of time, but you're going to have to use a stop order to get into that trade, obviously. It is a big stock, therefore there can be some additional risk there. When we're dealing with stocks of this size, obviously when they go our direction, we make a lot of money, but you are also looking at the risk side on that. Then we have JNPR, that's Juliet? Yeah, Juliet November Papa Romeo. Upward trending support line, bounce, 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 put in the indecision. So, yep, clear zoom. It's broken through this resistance line, the previous resistance line, which is obviously a nice indication. So yeah, no major issues with that. Then we have INVN, that's India November Victory November. Slight upward trending support line here. I think when we're upward trending like this, I would rather see it on a horizontal support line as opposed to a slightly upward trending one, just because the horizontal support lines are generally a little bit stronger. But again, I would probably be just, you see, I mean, it does put in a really nice entry point there. So I would expect it to rally over the next few. Well, I would expect it to somewhere along the line be rallying, whether it's whether it takes a while to come down to the horizontal support or from here. But again, certainly one, if you were to trade, you would be looking to use a stop order on that. Then we have MRCY, and a downward trending resistance line. Yeah, no major problems with that. No major problems. Let's see why. Okay, we have Charlie. Charlie, which is an upward trending support line. It has broken this resistance line previously now as well, which of course is a good sign. Pretty decent stock there, pretty decent size stock, and yeah, hopefully you can get a nice entry point off that. Then we have DHX, that's Delta Hotel X-Ray. Upward trending support line. Sold off quite aggressively over the last few days, but it has put in that that doji. So, yep. Again, I would normally be a little bit concerned with a heavy downward resistance line. Well, the downward trend over the last few days, but obviously we're using a stop order if you were to trade that. Then we have Echo Lima Papa, which is the downward trending resistance line. The stock has come up several times for trading over the last few years, and again it's putting in that indecision. So yep, nothing I need to warn you about there or draw your attention to. Support line here at 4.2, maybe a little bit small, but yeah, nothing really to add on that. Then we have FICO, upward trending support line. My concern here with this would be this was a very, very big down day today, or yesterday on Thursday. So again, is it ready to trade right now? No, because that is too big a risk in my book to take on, because they're too much of a spread. So you would have to use a stop order, which is obviously breaking 1% above the high and using the 1% below the low here, to get it going in the other direction. Okay, so if I was to trade that, then I'd want a better entry point than that right now. FSLR, upward trending support line, bounce, 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 bounce. It's sold off a little bit here. I'm not so concerned with the gapping when we've got the upward trending support lines than I am with the horizontal support lines. Okay, because again, the general all momentum is up, but if in an ideal world, I'd rather not see a gap there. Then we have GT, Golf Tango, upward trending support line, bounce, bounce, bounce. Yep, again, nothing I really need to draw your attention to there that I can see. Then we have is it IGT after that? It certainly is. IGT. And it doesn't like me not putting in a capital IGT. There we go. Upward trending support line, shorter term. Be aware of that resistance line has been drawn in as well. Obviously a slightly up there yesterday, which is what we would expect when it comes to that support line. Then we have NRG. Now this I couldn't see a real trade-off, and I'm hoping that whoever put this down was not looking at potentially taking a short, because of course that is an upward trending stock. We always go with the trend, so we certainly wouldn't be trading that. Then we have ODFL, upward trending support line, bounce, bounce, bounce. It's put in a little bit of indecision here. It's put in that what we call a hanging man, which is a good sign, obviously. But apart from that, clear zoom. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, these are the kind of stocks like what we were discussing with JBL. I would expect it to rally and then come back down, rally and come back down, because that's what it's done previously. That's ODFL. Then we have PMC, upward trending support line. Yeah. Notice here there was an upward trending resistance line as well, but the resistance line is now coming in the shorter term, but potentially obviously the whole upward trend is there as well. So a slightly up day yesterday. Yeah, there we go. PMC, then we had WHR. We've spoken about WHR already, haven't we? There's duplications, folks. Then we have WIN, upward trending support line, bounce, 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 bounce. Yeah, probably not the best entry point there today. or yesterday, I'd look for a better entry point than that. Also, it's quite a big stock, so be aware of that. Upward trending support line, bounce, 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 and it's put in a reasonable entry point. Would I say it's perfect? Probably. Maybe I'm just splitting hairs. Oh no, I don't want to reset chart. Clear zoom. It's moved pretty aggressively over the last sort of 6 months as well, going from around about the $40 mark to the almost $60 mark. So that's a 33% increase just over the last 6 months. So that's then we got HOG, Harley Davidson, another stock that comes up a lot of the time. Upward trending support line. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Yeah. Let's have a look a bit closer. Let's put in the slight upward day there, so you know how to deal with that. Then we got SGK, which is a horizontal support line around about the $10 mark, $10.50 maybe. Yep, nothing else untoward there. Then we got EGY. And some support around about the the $7 mark. The only thing, if I was splitting hairs, I mean, it's put in a very small day, which is a reasonable entry point. If I was splitting hairs here, and really I am splitting hairs, because I mean you could say that's on the bounce on the support line if I drew a little bit higher, as is that. But I would rather have these two a little further apart. But that's, I mean, as I say, splitting hairs. Then we have SCHN. I saw some support at around about 25.75, but only really 2 bounces. So unless you're maybe a little bit higher and brought these in, possibly. But I'm always looking for the lowest low, so to speak. CVLT, upward trending support line, bounce, 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 very nice. You're obviously going to have to use a stop order again, just a little bit of the grey area. This was a big sell-off day on, that would be Wednesday. It did put in a sort of the doji there, but yeah, if there was something, if this stock continued going south, I would have said it was because there was a heavy sell-off on Wednesday. Obviously, some of the stop orders, the stops coming in there, and it sent it slightly higher there as well. But the upward trend is there as well. Then we have TECD, Tango Echo Charlie Delta, and we have an upward trending support line here. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Put in some indecision. This now again, this is gap down here, and we see this with the horizontal stocks a lot of the time. They gap down and they find some consolidation because obviously everybody's got their orders. This is slightly upward trending though, so this doesn't concern me as much as it normally does with a horizontal stock, because the support line is not that, or the entry point is not that clearly defined. Yeah, ideally in an ideal world I wouldn't have that there. Because there still will be some momentum behind it, but it's not as bad as a horizontal stock. Then we have SUP, upward trending support line, bounce, 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 gap down, no major issues there. It's put in an update yesterday as well. Then we have MDR, Mike Delta Romeo, and bounce there, bounce there, bounce there. It's a gap and then a bit of a rally back up again as well. And it's put in a green update there as well. So it's these little things that add up. AFAM. And this was maybe an upward trending support line here. There are better trades out there though. It's not clearly defined enough for me. So yeah, Folks, some great stocks, some very, very interesting stocks. I think they're spoiled for choice a lot of the time now, and it's becoming a lot easier for, I know there are people out there that always want to be in 6 trades. I'm pretty much, I will only trade a stock depending on its merit, so I won't go purely for 6 stocks, but that's the maximum I'll have, if that makes sense. So, hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will speak with you on Monday. All the very best, folks. Cheers, bye-bye.